Hello, and welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
Delora, we are back post solar eclipse. Do you feel like you're a new woman? Did anything change? How was your experience?
It was such a cool experience. Real talk, leading up to it, for what I do for a living, we had a side project gearing up, making sure the stores have what they needed for the eclipse, because there's, was a lot of anticipation when people traveling to see and be in the path of totality. But honestly, even with those conversations, I just didn't really care. But the closer we got, the more I was like, okay, let's get the glasses. Okay, there's no school for my daughter, so that means we got to keep her entertained. Do I make moon cupcakes? Like, what do I do? You know what I mean? Like,
was that a thing? Moon cupcakes?
Girl, no. I'm just saying, what do you do for a solar eclipse? I started asking all the questions.
Now I want a cupcake. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. As soon as the day came, and about an hour before I knew, it was going to happen, I just decided to pick up these glasses and look up at the sun. And I'm like, holy moly, there's the moon slowly making its way over. And I started getting too hype. And so it was such a gorgeous day. And I was so thankful that we had great weather. There wasn't any major overcast or anything along those lines. And so we got a chance to experience it. Where we live personally, we were not in the totality path, but it was like 99.8%.
Wow.
And surprisingly, I will say this, it covered up a lot of the sun, but that sliver still impacted the amount of light we saw. So I would compare it to, it was almost like twilight, but it was different because of the position of the sun, right? And our solar lights came on, and Amara just thought it was super cool, and I just was very grateful that I got a chance to experience it.
Yeah, I think definitely the hype up, you can't count, or can't beat rather, collective excitement about something. Because I was with you. I was not thinking about those. I didn't even know this was happening till like a week before. And I started hearing about it. And I'm like, okay, I guess this is the thing. And then when I got back to Florida, because I had been away for a couple of weeks, I realized, and I was told, oh, well, we won't even be in the path. And I was like, oh, dang. Well, now I done got excited for the possibility of checking this out. And now I'm not even in the path. So I was like, well, I guess I'll just live vicariously here by everybody else's experiences. Little did I know that we were still going to be 65% coverage. And so I was just like, oh, I can't catch it. So I watched a little bit on the live stream. The Science Center here, they had a watch party that one of my friends went to. And I'm just like, dang, had I known, I would have gotten much more into it. I would have been festive. I would have had the glasses. I would have went outside. But I didn't think that we were really going to get a chance to experience it. So I'm super happy for those who really got into it, went outside, did the thing, had the moment. I just live vicariously through y'all. So it's fine.
I was curious. I'm like, what do people do? And David told me, one of his coworkers said that in his culture, they fast and then they eat and clean after. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I wonder what that means.
It's around the time of Ramadan too.
True.
I believe. So
interesting. Yeah.
I'm not sure if that plays into it for some folks in terms of that, but
that's true.
I know for sure, like my yoga instructor was like, oh, they actually say for the clips, you're supposed to stay inside and this, and that for the energy. And so I don't get into all of the things as far as
Yes.
like what people talk about with it or like researching with it. I was just like, well, this would have been something cool to look at, right? And then keep it moving. You know, I didn't feel any necessarily shift in my energy. Like this wasn't my period coming. And I'm like, why am I having such existential dread? You know, it
Yeah,
was none
yeah.
of that for me. So but it was definitely a big moment. And hopefully we're around another, 20 years for the
In
next
North
one.
America, yeah, where it's across a large amount of land because apparently it happens all the time in the middle of the ocean. Like, you know what I mean?
The fish are like, we do this. Okay, we see this.
You know, again, I was going to be silly. I'm like, the real aliens are down there anyway. So,
Yeah. I don't need to know what's in the bottom of the sea and the oceans. I really don't.
they've been here for a long time.
Yep. All right. Well, hi guys. Welcome back. We are getting into these pop culture streets as always, and we're going to talk about some headlines and hot topics today. Delora, the first one we're going to start with is piggybacking on a story that has been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Majors. We went through the situation with his ex-girlfriend, his court appearances, his relationship with Megan Good, subsequent interview, and now he has received his sentencing. He has been sentenced to a 52-week mandatory in-person domestic violence prevention program for the assault and harassment of that former girlfriend that I mentioned during a domestic dispute. He will have to give DNA, as it is his first conviction, and pay a separate $250 surcharge. I'm reading all of this according to CNN.com. He avoided jail time. He was facing up to a year in jail based on this conviction. And it seems that he definitely got a much more lenient sentencing that I'm sure his attorneys and he was hoping for. So, what were your thoughts when you saw the story?
When I saw the sentencing, honestly, in all transparency, it feels kind of petty. It feels like after all of this, you go to probation, you take a couple of classes, and I say this to say, like, his career is done. This is going to be a long road to recovery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hope his ex-girlfriend is satisfied with it. You know what I mean?
Well, there's ongoing litigation between the two of them because I believe she is suing him now. Um,
Yes, a civil
so
suit, right?
yeah. So that's
Yep.
why he didn't even make a statement in court due to that ongoing litigation. But yeah, I mean, again, I know for him, I'm sure this was the lenient sentencing that he was hoping for. But to your point, in terms of his acting career and the high that he was on and the trajectory he was on, I mean, you might as well call him Chris Brown, right? Like, I don't know if he's going to be able to rehab that image necessarily, not necessarily in the public the way that Chris has had to, but for sure with like studios and with people with power that could
Right.
green light a project for him to step back into that lane. Not saying it'll be forever, but for the foreseeable future, I agree with you. I can't foresee anybody putting him as the big star of the box office or of their television series or anything like that
Yeah, time is going to be his friend if
as the news cycle
he's
moves on.
able, right? If he's able to move on. And we mentioned this previously, there were people even further from his past that were making some similar claims. So
Yep.
I wonder if any of that's going to come to surface.
Megan Good still standing by his side. Any thoughts?
My mama said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all.
Yeah, but your mama didn't have a podcast, so I need you to
She
go ahead.
didn't. And you know how many times I've said awful things on here? No, I wouldn't say awful. I'll just say my opinion. You know what I mean? She's giving mommy and my man energy. And if she loves it, I like it. What is it? If she likes
If
it, I
you
love
like it,
it.
I love it.
Because at this rate, She is a grown woman doing her own thing. It don't make no sense to me, Ashley.
At the end of the day has to end. I just that's all the words I have for it. That's all the words I have for it. I liked his jacket when he went to court.
Amen.
I liked that jacket when he went to court. I'll say that, but
that's showing growth. The fashion wasn't holding a tin mug.
Oh yeah, he wasn't carrying that freaking mug. Growth.
My question is, what shoes or boots he were wearing?
Now I'm wondering what was in that mug. You think he was sipping lean or something? What was in the mug?
Not at court. I bet you it was empty.
You think people don't do drugs at court? Maybe. I bet some people have. That was a tangent. Let's move on.
It's just heartbreaking. He was so talented. Again, Lovecraft Country should be studied. Like, that show was phenomenal.
If there's one thing you can't take from people, no matter how trash they may be, is their talent. That man's still talented. He will be talented. Will he have the platforms to showcase that talent anymore? Time will have to tell. But there's one thing across the board about everybody who has done shitty things in life. They still be talented. So we'll see. Beyonce makes history. As Cowboy Carter debuts at number 1 with her 8th studio album. She becomes the first Black woman to debut at number 1 on Billboard's Top Country Albums chart. The superstar also reached number 1 on the Billboard 200 album chart with 407,000 equivalent album units earned in the US. And it's Beyonce's 8th number 1 on the chart, which encompasses all genres. I love Beyonce. You love Beyonce. We all love Beyonce. Were you expecting her album to break records?
Technically, no, because she hasn't made music for the charts in a long time, which us on this podcast, we're Hive and Hive adjacent. We've been following her and she's been doing her own thing for a while. So for this to be such a commercial success, as well as critically acclaimed, this is major. I saw someone say that this is her Thriller, and it's starting to look like it.
Wow.
In terms of the commercial success, again, commercial and critically acclaimed, she has so many great songs on this album. 23 of her songs are in the Billboard's Top 100. What? Jolene is now number 6, and it in its heyday was only at number 50 on the charts.
Levi's is seeing stock prices increase.
That's a bold statement about Thriller, but I'm starting to see it a little bit. I'm like, okay, let's see. We will see.
I think one of the best quotes that I've read was someone said, with Cowboy Carter, we can finally stop making the assumption that Beyonce has peers.
I saw that.
And I was like, that's a quote, right? That's a quote. I was even talking to one of my friends and she was talking about how at this point with the fandom, you can't really say things against Beyonce because of the fact that people are so fanatical about it. And I said, well, because she has transcended music, right? She is just like Michael Jackson was. Imagine in Michael Jackson's heyday for people to have talked about they didn't like Michael Jackson or they didn't recognize his musical genius. You sound absurd. I said, that's Beyonce now. Like, you don't, if you speak against her, you just sound like a hater because she has transcended music. And some will say that about Taylor Swift. Not me, but some. So, I just think that...
What do you mean? Their persona or...
No, their level of influence, their level of impact, their level of artistry, their level of fandom.
Okay.
Now, no one will necessarily ever again be quite as big as Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson.
It was like at that appointed time, you know what I mean?
He was beloved.
The rise of the pop star.
But he was also globally, I mean, and people would faint
Right.
and pass out at the sight of this man, right? But if we're talking about Thriller and we're doing any type of comparison to Michael Jackson, I'm saying in my thoughts, that's the thing about some of these artists now is like, yes, the fandom can seem exhausting, but think about when someone reaches a level where, yeah, you can't really talk shit about them anymore because of the success, the accolades, the influence. They've just reached a level where, history will remember them differently than anybody else.
Hmm.
So, and that's Beyonce for me.
Also, speaking to the success of this album, this is the kind of petty I rock with. You know what I mean? The fact that the CMTs were just the other day too. She didn't show up, which I didn't think she would, but to think this time next year, I wonder if they're gonna have to recognize her or not. You know what I mean? She becomes the first Black woman to top Billboard Top Country Albums chart. That's major.
Beyonce's going to Beyonce. Will
I
she
I
win the
love that.
Grammy? Will she win
For
the
best,
Grammy for Album of the Year?
oh, I was thinking you're gonna say for best country album.
No, for Album of the Year.
I don't know. At this rate, I I I almost don't want to have this conversation because like we I'm mixing in a little bit of the politics here. Um, After the end of the Obama years, it was called a white lash that got like Trump
Yep,
elected.
right.
And so whenever Black people excelled this greatly in America, I'm just like, I hate to say it, but I'm like, what's going to be the fallout to this? Because they were really dry to our four Blackbirds. Okay. I'm talking about Tanner, Brittany, Raina, and Tiara. They were very dry with their applause for them at the CMT, and I didn't appreciate it. You
Mm.
know what I mean? And so I
Congrats,
love the
girl.
fact that she is excelling. She once said, the best revenge is your paper. These are facts.
Do your thing, Beyonce. Do your thing. Speaking of music, Missy Elliott has tapped Sierra Timberland Busta Rhymes for her first ever headlining tour. She said, if I was ever going to do it, I had to do it big and I had to do it with family. As she announced her Out of This World, the Missy Elliott Experience tour. You know, shocking and crazy to me. This is her first headlining tour ever. I didn't even think about it, right? Like it didn't even register for me
It
till I saw the
doesn't make
headline.
any sense. She has so many freaking hits. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
We were just talking about her, remember, as our favorite, like, happy rapper.
Yes.
And you know what I thought though when I saw this announcement that just made me just a little bit sad is I was like, Aaliyah should be on here.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
But otherwise, I'm super excited for them. I already am going to 2 concerts this year, so I don't know if I'll be adding another to my list just yet. But are you excited for this? Is this something that you would go see?
This is really exciting. She has one heck of a roster. And would I go see it? I would strongly consider. I have not purchased any concert tickets yet this year.
Not even for
Um,
Usher? I thought you did.
oh girl, no. I love Usher, yes, but his ticket prices when I first saw them were entirely too high, in my personal opinion. So no, I didn't purchase anything officially for Usher Raymond. But I love this lineup. It is surprising that Missy, this is her first headlining tour. Did you know her longtime manager is Mona Scott Young?
I had no idea.
What? I am looking at Billboard right now. It is small circles in Hollywood, ain't it?
Yes. They always talk about the
Wow.
gatekeepers and the gatekeeping. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a small
I think
circle.
it'll be a lot of fun. And she has been such a visionary on top of her talent. So I can't wait to see what type of visuals and
Yes,
staging she's gonna have for this tour.
absolutely. And
And
the dancing, the choreo.
and I'm also excited because it gives the opportunity for acts like Sierra and Busta and Timberland to, get some love too. I love that.
Is Sierra taking her 5011 children on the road?
I don't know, but her boo got to figure it out.
Were you excited by Russell getting named as Essence has started this sexiest man of the moment? He's the
I love
second
it.
day
Yes,
cover.
I love it. I love it. Dimson as well as Russell,
I love
because
dancing.
people take too long to recognize men of color. I think they did it in the last couple of years because they felt the pressure after Blake.
Oh my gosh. Throw people away for that.
Yes, Essence come through. I mean, I still need more Chestnut to be on somebody's magazine as sexiest. Boris Kojo.
Oh,
We got a list, okay? But I love Russell. I love that Russell's getting love.
I love the line where they said he knows who he is and whose he is. I said, well, if that
Ooh.
ain't the damn truth.
Well, that's under the faith line, technically. But yes, that's a double entendre.
Uh-huh. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. So yeah, I'm surprised it took this long for Essence to do it because I was super excited when I saw it. I was like, finally.
And first of all, let's go back to Dimson. I love that outfit when he wore that white suit, that big rose. That's
Yeah.
the same. Wait, is that the same
That
as
Usher wore on
Usher
Vogue.
on Vogue? I love
I don't
it.
know because we couldn't see Usher that well. So
I
we don't
know,
know. We don't
girl.
know. But Damson was looking good and he has such a great smile. I was like, oh, if I saw him in person, I'd just start cheesing just off of seeing him smiling. So
Absolutely. It's very
good looking man.
contagious.
Yeah, good looking man. Again, if y'all want to have a black bond, there you go. All right, let's move on to Zendaya. First of all, I'm loving her looks for the Challengers
Of course.
tour.
Of
her,
course.
her in law,
Legendary.
her in law never miss.
It's like, what did Issa say? Like, these other bitches ain't even close.
Love Issa Rae. Iconic. She has had some iconic moments and quotes, hasn't she?
Absolutely. Rooting for everybody black.
Yes. But Zendaya, I feel like this is kind of coming off of the heels of Quiet on the Set. And now all of a sudden we want to talk about
Yep.
child stars and how they've navigated and how they fared in the industry. So as she's
It's
doing the
the Wild
press
Wild
run,
West, though.
yeah.
Seriously, there are no real guardrails. I think they have done it financially because of the cases of the child stars of the late 70s and 80s.
Having to get emancipated. Yeah.
But in terms of like mental health and well-being, it's sucking the souls out of these people.
Yeah. Well, Zendaya, obviously, we see as a success story of child stardom, right? Like it seems like she has a good head on her shoulders. She has been beautifully navigating her way to success in her career and now moving on to her first like real adult role in this film. And so, she was asked about her childhood and growing up in the spotlight and she said that it was kind of difficult to navigate being the breadwinner for her family at an early age. She said, I don't know how much of a choice I had. I have complicated feelings about kids and fame and being in the public eye or being a child actor. We've seen a lot of cases of it being detrimental. I think only now as an adult am I starting to go, oh, okay, wait a minute. I've only ever done what I've known, and this is all I've known. She said, I feel like I was thrust into a very adult position and that she felt it was necessary to live up to all these expectations in childhood. She also mentioned she feels like she's going through her angsty teenager phase right now because she didn't have the time to do so before. And so she said that even though she's getting these great opportunities, she feels very tense when they come her way because she has this pressure on herself to be perfect. Last but not least, she wishes she had went to school. It's overrated, Zendaya. No, I'm just kidding. I had a good time in some of my school years. What were your thoughts on this, Delora?
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to see how Zendaya responded to 16 Carriages.
Because she loves Beyonce too.
Loves Beyonce, speaks of the plight of being a young person, working really hard, taking care of family,
Yeah.
watching the family dynamics.
Overworked and overwhelmed. I might cook clean, but still won't fold. Okay.
Exactly. I do put Zendaya and Beyonce on the same bandwagon of fairly well-adjusted child acts. You know what I mean? Because the one thing I keep forgetting that Beyonce is technically a child star, technically, because she's been doing
Yeah.
this since like 6 years old.
I don't think of Destiny's Child in that way, even though that's true. Kelly,
Yes,
Latavia, Latoya,
yes,
all of them were children.
teenagers.
Yeah.
Because the fact that she has a 20-year career at 42 says a lot.
Yeah. Even Escape. Like so many folks, when you look back, they were young.
Very, and probably shouldn't have been singing about some of the stuff they were singing about too.
Yeah.
Usher.
Usher. Baby. Y'all gave him to Diddy for a year. That poor child. That poor child.
Uh anyway. And she also reminds me of Raven. So the thing about Raven, overall, I do feel like she had a good head on her shoulder, and a solid family dynamic until it wasn't, of course, because Raven has been vocal since in trying to find her way and footing after child stardom. And then even then, she's still able to be a boss at Disney. Like, you know what I mean? Like Zendaya really did follow in Raven's footsteps and being a producer and vocal on the shows and everything that they were on. I'm just so impressed with Zendaya. And what I love about her is that she's not just a pretty face. Like, of course, face card will never decline, but she is very invested in the projects that she takes on. She's very aware of her image, not just for the fashion, although we love it,
Mm-hmm. She's a
but
star.
the perception as well, because with this new role as Tashi and the challengers, I'm pretty sure she's about to do some stuff that's gonna have our mouths on the floor. And I appreciate her approach of, breaking through and trying to establish her image as an adult, because honestly, she has been playing a teenager for years, i.e., Spider-Man, i.e., Euphoria, that we're still talking about season 3. Is like, is she gonna even want to be in season 3 if
She's
she
heading to 30, all of them.
exactly, that is what I'm saying. The fact that she's what, 27 years old.
26, 27, yeah.
Yeah, so I appreciate her honesty in this article, and I appreciate how mindful she is. Like, one of the things that she said in this article is like, how long do I want to be in the public eye when it comes to like establishing herself and having a family and things along those lines. And I'm like, I really appreciate that a lot. It's giving Kirsten Dunst too. She was a prolific child actor, and she kind of went away and lied low and started working with director she wanted to work with and producing things that she believed in, but just like, oh, this is my job, but I still have my man and I got my kids. And I do my job very, very well.
And she's also been candid about the challenges with being a female actress and aging in Hollywood, right? And the
Yes.
drying up and availability, or lack of availability rather, of the better roles that she feels like are challenging and interesting to her. And to your point, we have been watching her since she was in Interview with the
Your
Vampire. And
vampire.
I
Yep.
mean, I still watch the original Jumanji, and just
Virgin
yeah,
suicides. Yep.
bring it on, baby. Classic. But I mean, I love Zendaya. I am rooting for Zendaya. She is definitely on my Mount Rushmore of favorite Black women actresses of her generation. It's her, it's
Mm-hmm.
Yara, it's Kiki.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited for their careers and for what they're really going to do. And the opportunities I hope that they're afforded. I know Zendaya said, I just want to see more people who look like me in these circles that I'm now in. And I hope for that as well. Like, I don't want Zendaya to be the lone Black girl who's
Yes.
going to become a superstar. I don't want her to have to go the way of Halle Berry, where you get that Oscar and you think you're breaking barriers and then nobody else comes after you, you
Right.
know? I hope that there are changes for sure in Hollywood with this next generation, and that Zendaya is a reflection of that. So I'm sorry that she may feel like she missed out on some things in childhood, but girl, we are rooting for you. Okay.
We are, and we're so proud of you. Like, again, she has such wisdom and she seems very grounded. And I
Yes.
appreciate about that about her. And I know she probably has the weight of the world on her shoulders, but you are doing a good job, girl. You're doing a good job.
Yes. And you guys seem like a good man beside you. So do your thing.
Yes, they're so cute.
They are. All right, let's move on to our final headline. I was conflicted about whether I even wanted to talk about this, if I'm honest with you, because I don't know if I wanted to really give it life any more than I feel like I've already been seeing and hearing it. But it's important because we are in election year. You and I are both voters, and we have our personal discussion if we don't always bring it to the mic about the state of things and what we're hoping for. And
Mm-hmm.
we have been fans of The Rock over the years since his time,
WWE,
doing some
what
wrestling moves out here. He just
do
reappeared
you
at
smell
WrestleMania.
that The
Yeah.
Rock is cooking?
I mean, I made a poster back in my day for The Rock, okay? Even though he didn't show up to that event, I was down for it. All right. And he hurt my feelings recently when he said that he would not be endorsing Joe Biden for the 2024 rather election, because back in 2020 when he did that, he felt like it caused division and that tears him up in his guts. He went on Fox News. He went on Fox News and talked about this, Delora. He said, the endorsement that I made years ago was one I thought was the best decision for me at the time. I thought I'm in this position where I have some influence, and I felt it was my job then to exercise my influence and share. I'm not going to do that. I was then the most followed man in the world and am today, and I appreciate that. But what that caused was something that tears me up in my guts, which is division. That got me. I didn't realize that then, and I just felt like there was a lot of unrest, and I'd like things to calm down. Basically, to sum it all up, he said he's going to keep his politics to himself and that who he votes for is between him and the ballot box. What'd you think about this?
Sure. Okay. Does he think we're idiots though? I mean, I don't know much about his following. I'm sorry. It's all about context, right? Context clues. You're doing this on Fox. You're claiming that it spurred division. Boy, bye. I ain't got nothing for you. Again, I have been a strong supporter of The Rock through the years. I mean, he's starred in movies I've loved, and I do not go to him for my politics. But him thinking Joe Biden was divisive when the Republican candidate currently is twice impeached and has a mountain of legal trouble. I give up. I don't have the energy for this, Ashley. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's why I said it hurt my feelings, because I'm like, I don't understand. So I've heard multiple people of influence and celebrity and all this, black, white, other, whatever, discuss why they don't feel like they want to make an endorsement this go around. And everybody can have their individual reasons, but I'm confused as to why it seems to be less urgent this go around than it was in 2020. I'm confused as to why there seems to be a sentiment of amnesia about the position we could find ourselves, the position we could find ourselves back in. Again, Delora and I don't talk about politics much. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox and have a whole rant, but I will say this. This is why I say that back in the day, in the 60s, the 70s, all those celebrities who put their necks out on the line to do what they felt was right and what was necessary for the communities that they were a part of or felt were suffering were a fucking one. Because these celebrities today are bitches, in my opinion. Like, if y'all cannot stand 10 toes down for your beliefs because you're afraid of what your fan base or whoever is going to say, then you're not real to me in this way. Like, I never want to hear you say anything else whatsoever about anything in terms of politics or anything like that. If now it's, oh, I caused division, I don't want to do that, because you just expressed what you thought was best based on this pattern of behavior and these terrible things that this person has said and done and incited in this country. It disgusts me. It disgusts me.
What
That's
you
all I
said,
got.
Ashley.
That's
That's
all
what
I
you,
got. I'm
it's
done.
giving. He didn't have to say any of this.
No, especially not on Fox fucking News.
Nobody asked him.
Y'all forgive me. I've been working on my cuss and I thought I was doing better and I'm devolving. So, all right, Delora, let's move on to our hot topics. All right. So, we don't usually talk much about rap. We haven't really had much of a need to, but this whole J.Cole, Kendrick Lamar beef has been everywhere. You even had people wanting Dionne Warwick to pop up and, I guess, cool the
What?
waters between the two of them. Yeah, they like tweeted her. I guess she's the voice of reason on Twitter. So they're like, Dion, can you? She said, no, I'm gonna mind my business. Right.
That's what friends are for.
But obviously, she didn't have to say anything because J. Cole was over here feeling bad his damn self, right? He attended and performed at the Dreamville Festival and made a public apology to Kendrick Lamar for his diss track 7 Minute Drill that was on his surprise EP, Might Delete Later. But this came on the heels of the fact that Kendrick Lamar was the one who really initially fired the shot, right? And J. Cole was just responding. But he said he felt bad. He said, when I listen to it, that shit don't sit right with my spirit. Basically, it's taking me back to a place I was 10 years ago. That's not who I want to be. I love Kendrick. Take your best shot. I'll take it on the chin. It is what it is. People came down on him for issuing this apology, for not continuing the beef. Are you a fan of rap beefs? And do you feel like this is something that J. Cole needed to keep to himself, I guess, to essentially live up to the cultural expectations of rap?
I am a fan of rap beef when it's good. So, like when Remy Ma snatched Nicki Minaj's wig off, that was everything. I mean, when Meg Thee Stallion didn't even say her name, but embarrassed Nicki Minaj in the more recent beef,
Yeah, that was real
that
recent.
was very entertaining. When it comes to J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, I mean, with Kendrick Lamar, he was like, F the big three, it's just me. Like, Kendrick came on the scene for literally calling everybody out. Like, this is what he does. And I'll say this: one, J. Cole's response to what Kendrick had to say was not that great. It wasn't. It wasn't. Two, yes, I'm all for taking care of yourself and doing what's right for yourself in terms of like if your intuition is telling you no, don't do it. It's a reason. Gut feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Holy Spirit, you know what I mean? Like keeps you in line. Number three, the only reason why I'm okay with this with J. Cole is because he actually got bars. Drake could never do this. Drake has yet to really prove himself, in my personal opinion, when it comes to beef.
So you feel like Pusha
Let's
T
not forget.
murdered him.
Yes, let's not forget. I wasn't hiding my son from the world. I was keeping the world from. Like, sorry, what?
Yeah, that got ugly. That beef. I was like, somebody about to get shot.
But that was very entertaining, and Drake did not come to the table correct. So, because the thing about Drake is he comes off as the type of person that will, do the swinging and act like he didn't do it, right? Like he'll hide his hand type of deal. And it's like, no, you want to be in the big leagues, you got to play with your competitors, play with your peers. I don't know. This is interesting because Kendrick did seemingly come out of nowhere talking about I'm not part of Big Three. And I'm pretty sure, I think J. Cole said it, alluding to him, Drake, and Kendrick being the top three rappers in the game. And Kendrick was like, why are you talking about me? Keep my name out your mother effing mouth.
Yeah, I don't really care about rap beefs whatsoever. I'm glad we're not in the era we were in with Tupac and Biggie. That's for damn sure.
That's insane.
But yeah, they don't really do anything for it. They don't really move me. But this was interesting because I was like, have I ever seen a rapper just tap out? Just be like, yo, this ain't for me. Whatever,
But
y'all
that's
can say
why I
whatever y'all want to
appreciate
say.
it.
And that's
I
what I'm saying.
appreciate
Like,
it. That shows growth because he's a grown ass man. Ain't he almost 40? Like,
he
yes.
probably is, but yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like, I don't think I've ever, yes, he's 39. I don't think I've ever seen this, right? So it's like, maybe this is really, really a new era where he's like, my mental health and well-being is matters to me more than what y'all think.
People are going to therapy, Ashley. So
People are
yes.
going to therapy. Black boy joy is real.
Yes. And I'm here for it.
He said, don't take me back to the man I was 10 years ago. I don't want to be that man no more. I am healed. And he said, I hope God puts me back on the path that I'm supposed to be on. I was like, oh, felt that in my spirit, J. Cole, because I've felt that before. You know, when you realize you're in a moment and you get taken back to a place you're like, that's not who I am anymore.
Yeah, that's real.
So, you know, we might have just witnessed, I guess, rap beef history with this one, whether you liked it or you didn't. It is what it is. J. Cole said, I'm choosing me. So respect that man and his choices. All right, Delora, last hot topic of the day. I don't know about y'all, but it was everywhere on my freaking timeline. Aoki Lee Simmons out here sugar babying it up on the beaches of St. Bart's.
Not sugar baby in it.
Sugar babying it up. What else do you call it, Delora? She is 21 years old and she was out here with a 65-year-old restaurateur,
I'm sorry, just gagged.
Vittorio Asif. Looking at their pictures, it was awkward for me, let alone being in the dynamic in the situation. But hey, he's rich. Apparently, he likes the company of young, beautiful models because she has been in the modeling game up and coming since she graduated from Harvard doing her thing.
She's
Or
so
even
tall.
before. Even before. You saw Kimura's reaction. She ain't seemed very pleased. We've seen Russell's reaction, even though I don't really care about that. What was your reaction, Delora?
I was like, she is her mother's daughter. Let's not pretend. And even with that had some unsavory situations when you look at it a little bit closer with today's lenses. Like,
well, I think Kimura realizes that too, and that's why they say she was so concerned.
And it doesn't help with the allegations that her father has against him. It's very messy. Like, it'd be one thing if she was just a regular socialite and her parents were just not as complicated. You know what I mean? It's giving Lori Harvey and Diddy, which is a whole nother conversation now.
Oh,
never mind.
Wow, right.
Ooh, ooh,
and
ooh.
Justin. Because apparently she dated them both. She was all up and through them parties.
I
Lori?
cannot. I have no words. That seems like a little bit too much for me to touch on right now. But Ashley, a 65-year-old man is too old for us.
Yeah.
Let alone a 21 recent college graduate. My second thought was, okay, maybe she's running a game. She is a Harvard graduate. Maybe she's running some type of game.
She out here living her best life, you know? She out here living her best life.
I saw one of her videos. And that's the thing. I mean, she just is such a 21-year-old. I'm like, this man is legit. So in her video, she was like, oh my goodness, I love Bagari. Oh my goodness, I love Dior. My boyfriend this, my boyfriend that, my boyfriend. Like, what age does boyfriend seem sufficient to describe?
She can't say my grandpappy. What'd you expect her to say? Because this man could be her grandfather.
It's granddaddy.
Oh.
It seemed opportunistic on both sides.
For sure. The nature of sugar baby relationships are transactional. And that's all I assume that this is. He has money. Otherwise, he would have never touched her body. Correct? and he's Leo DiCaprio in 10 years.
Whew. Whew.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Whew.
let's not pretend like Leo may not be on this same train in another 10, 15 years. So, it is what it is. I just thought it was funny that it was everywhere. I thought it was funny that people were blowing it up to be such a big deal. Obviously, given who she is and who her parents are, I was like, where's your sister? Because Ming stays out the way.
She really does. She really does. But the fact that the relationship has concluded already at the end
Yeah.
of this trip is
'Cause
also quite hilarious.
They also said there never was a relationship, right? Like the Simmons family vacations in St. Bart's, that's a normal stomping ground for them. She probably met him. He said a few things. He threw her a little money. They had a good time. It is what it is. But I mean, maybe she played it up too for social media. She's like, well, if y'all gonna have my name in your mouth, I'm gonna have a good time with it. Whatever this was, I hope y'all both got what y'all needed. Because y'all gave us some entertainment. I guess I'll say that for just, 5
Because it
seconds.
was all of us. We were like, no.
Well, I posted
Don't
on our
do it.
story, and I thought it was hilarious. I think Justin Sylvester posted it. I'm one team's meeting away from pulling Aoki Lee. I'm like, yes. Exactly. I can't hate. Hate the player, don't hate the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, can't hate the player, hate
And I
the
was
game.
gonna say, I don't think her sister would do it. If she would have already done it. But that seemed like some younger sister shenanigans. Just decent.
Or Ming just keeps her stuff private. She like, y'all not gonna catch me on nobody's beach.
Exactly. We be in Paris going shopping.
Exactly. Do your thing, Aoki. Do your thing. All right, Laura, that's it. That's all. We done. What are we recapping for the people next week?
We are recapping a musical. I love a good musical here and there. And it's of a movie we've actually already recapped. We are recapping 2024's Mean Girls, the musical.
Jazz hands. Fun.
Yes.
Fun. And you're correct. I actually went back because I was like, what grade did I give the original Mean Girls before I graded the music?
Real talk, Ashley, I was panicking while prepping for it because I was like, we already did a recap. Like, I'm not trying to, do the same thing, but it is quite similar. It does have its differences, but the story is essentially the same. So it'll be all right. Come join us, you all, on Tuesday.
All right. Well, you heard her. Join us back for Mean Girls the Musical. Appreciate you guys for listening. Share this episode with all your people. We appreciate you. We'll be back, but in the meantime, as always, be blessed.
Bye.